Welcome back, everyone. Well, Global Crossing, an operator of a fiber optic network that links over 30 countries, reported a loss its fourth quarter. Company said net loss was $27 million amid an 8% drop in sales. Global Crossing, which once boasted market valuations north of $75 billion, emerged from bankruptcy a year ago. CEO of Global Crossing, John Legere, is our guest. He joins us now with outlook for the company. Thanks for joining us today, Mr. Legere. Let's talk about it, because when I looked at the report today, it says sales fell 8%. What's your outlook, I guess, in terms of sales going forward for the company?
Well, this is very important, and having a full day meeting with analysts tomorrow, because it's a rather complicated story. We've transformed the company with some very specific actions, and what I told the street is there's three buckets you're going to have to look at. One is what we're going to invest in growing, and that is global IP services to enterprises. Q4 on Q4, that grew 8%. At the same time, when overall revenue went down 16. Then there's a second bucket, global wholesale voice, which we're going to maintain for profitability, and we're aggressively driving a lot of price action in that bucket. The third is pieces of our business that we're going to exit or sell, small business, trader voice, and the consumer business. So what I did today is I gave guidance for 05, and I gave it in three buckets, which was very powerful, easy to track. Very important, which we also told people today, that we are fully funded. We have ample cash to the point when we're EBITDA positive first half 06, cash flow positive second half 06. That was new news to people, and it's been well received.
And we looked at some of that in terms of the cash that has been generated from a year ago, $369 million. At least that's what the numbers tell us. What about that in terms of where you're generating much of that cash from? Were you specific about that?
Well, we did a high-yield offering on our UK facility, and the face of the bonds were $404 million, and we had proceeds of just about $390 million, and that has given us the cash that we need. But I think importantly, the area of our growth is a differentiated area. It's global IP converged services to enterprise customers. A couple statistics. We do 2.2 billion minutes a month of VoIP. We had a 32% increase in overall IP traffic and 13% growth in IP services. Those are the real high-margin, sticky revenue areas for the company, and important for people to catch up to Global Crossing, whose genesis was a carrier's carrier, is now focusing its energy on a sweet spot that I'd really challenge you to find who is looking at this space. In the U.S., most of the big consolidations, which I believe are good for the industry, are pretty much to create enterprise focus in the contiguous 48 states. Infonet and Equant, who were two of our competitors in the space, one has gone inside BT, and one has gone back into France Telecom. So we've got a differentiated niche, and that's where we're going to place our bet.
Let me ask you this, in terms of on the business end, a lot of consolidation in your businesses, in terms of cleaning up the balance sheet and those types of things.
Right.
Some would look at it and say, are you looking at that point maybe to be acquired by someone, or is the situation with Singapore Telecom, since they control a majority, is that the situation that's going to stay?
Yeah, Singapore Technologies Telemedia, who is a subsidiary of the Temasek Group, which is a AAA-rated, extremely well-funded organization. They've been extremely supportive. The recapitalization of their debt that was part of the restructuring we did, the financial support that they give us, they're in this for the long haul. So I think, we're not for sale, and we've got tremendous financial back. And we also have 20% of our equity owned by Carlos Slim from Mexico. Richard Rainwater also owns 14%. So we've got a lot of good money behind the company, and we've got a sweet spot that we think is something to keep your eye on.
A lot of people are looking and saying, with that, in terms of those two big holders of the stock, is there a big short position in it when you look at it?
There's a huge short position. I think as of February 15th, there were about 10.5 million shorts on a stock who, before their shares, has about 15.4 million shares outside of Singapore, common shares. So it's a very heavy short position. But remember, last year when we had our cost of access restatement, we faced potential delisting of the NASDAQ. We needed to become compliant with the SEC. So we were probably a good target. We got through those. Then we weren't fully funded. We did the financing. Now we've given guidance going forward as to how this company is going to be successful. Tomorrow we're going to spend the whole day showing Wall Street by customer how we're differentiated, including, by the way, a 7-year, $100 million contract we signed this morning with the British Council for, guess what, global managed IP services. So customers are voting the right way.
And we did see that come across the Bloomberg terminal. Appreciate your time today. CEO John Legere of Global